you, Gary. 6:30 on the nose here, and I'm not sure if Norm is going to be able to join us tonight or not, but we do have enough people to get started, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time and also kind of the clock as we head into the 7 p.m. Planning Commission meeting. So I am going to go ahead and call this subcommittee meeting to order, if that works for everyone. Any additions to the agenda tonight? Not seeing any.
None to this agenda.
All right, fantastic. Let's dive right into new business then. Where we left off, if everyone remembers, in the year 2021, we were putting together a letter for the Board of Selectmen to get some projects top of mind for them as they look to distribute the American Rescue Funds. And I know Gary has an update on that. Maybe you can provide us with that update, Gary.
Sure. Forgive me for my screen it's not working, but as far as that goes, we did draft a letter to the Board of Selectmen with recommendations consistent with the plan of development, what we thought was low-hanging fruit, where they could maybe invest some of those funds, primarily infrastructure-like projects. That said, we just need to have it executed by Michelle, and she's going to take care of that tomorrow, and we'll get it to the Board of Selectmen. And as you know, they did, as some of you may know, I don't know if you all know, they established a subcommittee to take a look at the expenditure of those funds further. So I suspect that this letter will get into the hands of that subcommittee, and it'll go from there.
Excellent. And as you're probably going to hear about these kinds of things more faster than we will. Perhaps we'll hear about it through Bill Weber as our ex officio, but I, and I'm sure many members of this group, would be more than willing to attend a subcommittee meeting should they want additional information or have questions on the projects that we sent over. So keep us posted.
Will do.
All right. Next thing on the agenda is the 2022 meeting schedule. I just wanted to bring this up. I think we need to officially file one, first off. And secondly, it's been a little while since we have met and since we established this kind of trial schedule of every other month before the Planning Commission meetings. So I'd love to open it up to hear from Kirk, Rich, Larry. Does this work for you? What do you want to see for 2022?
This is Kirk. Yeah, I think every other week sounds about right. As far as expectations, I'll leave that up to the commission as a whole. That's all.
I'm fine with every other month. That was a plan, every other month before the planning meeting. I'm fine with that.
Larry, work for you? Up, down, maybe?
Yeah, I agree. It works for me. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So I will work with Jen to get these filed, but it looks like our next meeting will be ahead of the April Planning Commission meeting, which I believe is also, no, not also the 8th.
Should be the 12th.
The 12th, great. Thank you, Gary. So April 12th, 6:30. And it's my aim that we keep these meetings short, but get some individual assignments going in between them so that we maintain momentum, which kind of leads me into the next section of the agenda, into old business and next steps. And that is, where do we want to go from here? I think Gary had a great idea of kind of going through the matrix and maybe looking at some of the low-hanging fruit, things that might be easier to get off the ground and get going, to get some momentum. And I'm hoping that we can take a look at that and maybe peel off a few things that as individuals we can kind of spearhead and try to make some progress on between now and April, in whatever ways make sense. Open to other ideas though.
This is Kirk. That sounds like a good idea. That's a pretty big matrix to talk about in 20 minutes though.
Yes, and it's been a while since our last meeting, right? I think we were going to kind of look at some of these things in the in-between time. I know I'm not throwing stones because I looked at it, and as you can see, I'm turning page. I don't even remember what I had written down. But maybe there are areas of interest that we could talk about tonight, things that you know from working on the document that you had a particular interest in, and could potentially, people could kind of each look back on those, you know, their sections of interest to find some of the good first steps in those sections.
So this is actually talking about trying to have the plan, like spurn the implementation of our plan, right? I mean, that's the intent of going through this matrix.
Yeah.
So
what things do we think we could motivate forward by starting the conversations with the right people or groups?
Well, I would say one conversation we can start with is maybe with zoning. We recently reviewed a regulation change regarding the flood elevation and the base, the height, the first floor elevation height for buildings. We got one, what they ended up adopting was the 1 foot of freeboard, where the recommendation out of the plan of development and the Stantec study was 2 feet. While only 2 municipalities in Connecticut have adopted that, that might be something we could possibly revisit. And the reason I say that is because zoning is also moving forward with discussion with the Board of Selectmen on changing the town ordinance regarding flood zones, and to basically mimic what was approved in the zoning code. So basically what was approved there would be the proposed new ordinance language, so it's consistent. That said, there's another opportunity within the town ordinance to increase that to 2 feet. So that might be something to consider, recommending that the board, take a closer look at that freeboard. And anyway,
when is that coming for discussion and vote?
Not 100% certain. I spoke to Bill Mulholland today, and he told me that process is going to get going forward. I guess they have to create the draft and the correspondence to the Board of Selectmen. So that's underway, but it's probably a month or two out.
And I think this is a great idea, Gary. And I know this was something that we talked about a lot when the zoning referral came to Planning Commission. Can you walk us through, because I think this is going to be helpful in a number of zoning recommendations in the plan, but could be helpful with other boards and commissions that have regulations as well. What is the process for proposing an amendment to the regulation when it comes from another board or commission? I have a pretty solid understanding of the process when it comes from, a developer, town resident, but what's the process kind of internally for us?
Internally, we would be literally just recommending to the board, to the zoning commission, that they consider revising their regulations. And if they so chose, it would be a commission initiated application on behalf of the town.
Okay. I'm interested in following up on that one. I don't know if anybody else is interested in that particular example. Don't feel you have to volunteer, but don't feel that you can't.
I would just chime in to say I'm not volunteering, but I'm only chiming in to say that I agree that it's an important thing to talk about. And I'll also, one other point that I think I want to make is like, I feel like part of our job with this might be a like, I don't want to say educational, but like I want to say something like, well, at least letting whatever board or commission that we're talking about going to, notifying them or like kind of reminding them what is already in the land use plans that we have in our POCD. So it's almost like an educational thing, but for the zoning board, I wouldn't imagine talking to the zoning board and saying, this is how you should do zoning. And same with, I don't know, the wetlands. All I'm saying is maybe if we like highlight where we talk about these items in our POCD. That's all. That's my other idea.
That's an important distinction. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you at the end there. I think you're making a really good point. Perhaps the approach is, why did we put it in the POCD? Mm-hmm. Here's the information, and now you have, you know, the information that we had when we decided to include it.
I also think that you're going to probably find, depending on the commission, some more willing partners that are more motivated. Sounds like the example you said, it's like the idea is jump on what's already moving. So there's already some momentum. Maybe we can establish a partnership there because they seem motivated. Just, you know, trying to figure out which among those recommendations we think there's some internal movement, or if not movement, interest.
To that end, do you and Rich have any thoughts on library/historical society? I know that the two groups are partnering, you know, or are in discussion often already, and they come up quite a bit.
Go ahead, Rich.
Right. Well, the Board of Selectmen already approved the new museum, and it's going to be based on a partnership with the library. We received some grants, and the library's using some grants for their own use, but they're using a lot for they hired a consultant to work with us, and you know, it's been doing well. We're happy to get those grants, and I think later in the year they're going to have a subcommittee to plan more. So it's coming along well. The library's been very helpful.
Yeah, no, exactly what Rich said. There's great momentum, so we're pretty excited about it. So
that's excellent. And so we'll rely on you both to kind of help us keep track of that, because I imagine that's going to be another thing that we probably want to get some kind of plan or procedure around, is as we're doing all of these things, how are we keeping track of them and kind of checking off this matrix?
Yeah,
right. And Norm is also constant discussions with the selectmen, the Board of Selectmen, so he can also update us when he's here.
Excellent.
Sorry about my cat.
Yeah, I had to lock him downstairs.
She wants me to put on a YouTube video of birds or squirrels. She got upset and walked away. So.
I'm looking at some of these that are kind of education focused. Gary, I don't know, are you able to screen share? We could do that, or I have the big fat matrix in front of me. But supporting the East Lyme Harbor Management Plan, there's kind of, there's a recommendation that kind of is about public service announcements. It's on this front page. It is the first non-bolded one there. It's kind of a big chunk one under develop the following educational campaigns. That may be something that what the recommendation reads is: consider partnerships with artists or public service announcement type notification or weekly news features to creatively identify and execute more ways to communicate with the public on the wide variety of ways they can be stewards of East Lyme's coastal resources. This one could be a nice partnership with some of the existing town communications channels. And we do have the Shellfish, Natural Resources, Agribusiness, and Harbor Management Commission listed all, and also we know that there's strong community groups for this: Save the River, Save the Hills, Niantic River Watershed. That may be something.
You thinking, Michelle, you thinking like video content or something like that, or?
I think, well, perhaps it's fresh in my mind right now, but it seems like in the last few weeks, we've had a lot of newsworthy events in East Lyme between the weather and other events. And it's been very clear to me that people are looking and are tuned into the town's official news sources online. I'm not sure who manages. I know public safety kind of seems to speak as the town for big announcements. I'm not sure if Kevin has initiatives going, you know, as part of kind of his way of running the business, you know, that maybe there's other channels.
Yeah, my understanding, there isn't like a social media manager that consolidates the effort, is managing it. Seems to be, as you say, like Public Works or the police department, depending upon, you know, what they're trying to communicate.
And those might be just good resources to tap into. Perhaps we facilitate with these other commissions and say, give us your 5 things that you want residents to know, and Parks and Rec, Public Works can kind of put them out. Might help them too, kind of build content when they need to keep their audience engaged.
Internally, I'll just comment. I believe, depending on how the budget goes, I guess if it goes forward as proposed, there should be money in there for basically a director of information technology, who would then most likely have delegate that task to someone managing social media for the town. So I think ultimately that's where we want to head, is having this one social media person. But we're slowly getting there. So we'll see what happens.
I have one comment. Did anyone? I know the answer is yes, but at one time we had a whole list of stakeholders that were involved in like the early planning of the POCD and all that. I mean, if we reached back out to them and kind of engage them again a little bit, I feel like some of these initiatives that we're talking about, you know, they could be our eyes and ears for this, because they're the ones that showed up to the meetings. They do have, you know, an interest in this stuff. I don't know how to do that, but it's just an idea that, you know, I'll throw out there.
I think that's really smart, Kirk. And we do still have all of those contacts, and we did incorporate not the names but the groups into the matrix, so they'll be very easy to reference. I actually think that we do some email work ahead of time and then have a really productive workshop.
I think that's a great idea, because it's going to open the door to that conversation again. It tags the person who's interested from that commission or board, and that might be the best way to really try to fulfill the matrix, right? And getting at and say, hey, we'd like to work with you, and maybe they can become part of this subcommittee and be just that liaison.
Yeah, to be frank, I don't even know how much outreach any of these different boards and commissions have. I mean, it may be they've been thinking about it, they're excited about it, but they haven't just started it, and maybe we can be sort of help motivate and partner with them. I know the library, they already have a very formal sort of, that's what they do, right? So, but there's a lot of individuals that, I mean, I haven't seen any content, but then again, I haven't been looking, so.
Maybe we do like a mass emailing again and like try to go through this matrix one more time.
I like that.
I don't think half an hour is going to do it, though.
No, I agree. And I think we should I'm thinking about our original kind of stakeholder session. We had 2 of them and they both probably went 2 hours.
And there was a lot of really, really good stuff that came out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking that we probably want to put also more than 10 minutes or more than a half an hour into the planning of this stakeholder session as well.
Agreed.
Would anyone be
100%.
open to a special meeting to talk to just on this, plan this out? I'd love to do it in person if we can. I think this is going to be our last Zoom, hopefully.
I would certainly be open to that.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'd participate.
Okay, great.
I feel like going to the public house again might be a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, probably.
We're not there yet.
No, nope.
But I grew somewhere, like, you know, if we could meet somewhat social distance, like, or not, whatever everybody's comfortable with.
Yeah, the building's available. We can, you know, so long as we can book a room. There's plenty of room to spread out. There's only a handful of us.
Yeah, I think that's great. Do we want to look at dates now? Gary, do you want to look at room availability? I think probably the end of a month usually has a little bit more flexibility. I'm looking at a calendar of my.
I think water sewer meets on the 22nd. I mean, we can obviously meet any day of the week.
Can we look at early? Well, I just said late end of the month, and then I said early March. I would love for a little bit of time for us to kind of be able to come to that meeting with some concrete thoughts and ideas to discuss, but I don't know how long everybody needs for that.
We probably could get a room on the 16th. The Board of Selectmen is meeting in the big room, but conference room 1 should be available. If it is, I can look to book it then, or we could look at the 23rd. I don't think there's anybody in any meetings on the 23rd.
Yeah, my Wednesdays are great.
Wednesday's fine with me.
I'm good with the Wednesday.
Me too. Do y'all prefer the 16th or the 23rd?
How much preparation do we need before the meeting? I mean, we would be hashing this out like on the spot kind of thing, right? It's not a, I think we could go earlier then. Okay. But I'm open for whatever everybody else thinks too.
Yeah, whatever schedules are, obviously, I mean, I suspect you all are working or busy during the day. So I'm thinking 5, 6, 5 might be kind of tight. 6:30 seems to work. But yeah, up to you.
Maybe like a 6:30 to 8:30.
Yeah.
Adequate.
Yeah.
Work fast or.
I'll look to book for the 16th. That's a week away. If it's not available, I'll shoot for the 23rd.
Fantastic.
This is February or March, Gary?
February.
Okay.
It's only a week away, so it's a week or two, depending on. Does that work for you?
Yeah. For some reason, my mind was set on March already, which is kind of scary.
Well, hopefully we could hash this stakeholders meeting out and what that would look like, and then at our March meeting, I guess, I don't know, we motion to, or we, I don't think we need. I guess we can discuss it as a commission as a whole. I mean, I don't know. What do you or do you want to go forward in March with a stakeholder meeting?
Let's see how we do on Wednesday, on the 16th. We may be ready to send invitations out, you know, after that. We may need more time.
Okay.
So we're just going to scope out what we're going to do. It's a planning session, really, the 16th?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to figure out how, if we're going to get all these people together, how we're going to make the most of their time.
Yeah.
planning scoping session. Great. All right.
Cool.
So that looks like next steps.
Yeah, that was pretty good. We've accomplished a lot in 25 minutes, everyone. Even though it doesn't seem like it. That was a great idea, Kirk. Really great idea. On this list is also committee membership, and potentially that's something I think we can visit in this stakeholder meeting as well. I would love to see this group get a little bigger. One, so that if you can't make a meeting, it's not a big deal. We still have enough subcommittee members to have a meaningful meeting, but also that our network is spread out a bit further. So perhaps we could include that as part of our planning.
So do you want to make a call for volunteers, or how do you want to expand the circle, so to speak?
I think that's how we did it the first time. And
It worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it worked out great. I would love to do it again. I know there were people that were interested, but kind of weren't able to get on board when we were writing it, from other commissions. Shellfish, I think I specifically remember someone was going to maybe come. So it'd be worth putting it out again. Maybe it'll be more exciting for people, the implementation versus the writing.
Yeah,
We might be more willing, since we're already, finished writing the POCD. They may have the time to participate in this method, but they may not have the time to write chapters, so they might have been hesitant in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the part where we're following through. So,
Right.
yeah, the writing bit, I think that was a big ask. So I agree with you.
But some people might have been hesitant.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so we'll make sure we talk about that. And then zooming to the end here, any other items of discussion before we adjourn? All right. Well, we'll call it quits then. And Larry gets to enjoy his night while the rest of us stay on for planning.
Did anybody
miss
make
you.
the?
Hey, I'm gonna
Yeah, I miss you guys. I miss you
send
guys.
you the link so you can tune in.
That's
Did
right.
anybody make a motion?
And better yet, before the motion, if you guys happen to go to the Black Sheep every once in a while, let me know. I'll show up.
Hey, if that's what it takes to get you out, we'll do it.
I need it. I need it.
Right? We all do.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's move to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.